In continuation of the Commander series, we're going to be discussing Kinnara, one of the most OP commanders in the game by far, and one that has really stolen my heart lately. So stick around as we dive in and see why she's considered such a strong commander. What is up, guys? Now we're here back with a brand new video. This video is all about the Flying Dagger, Kinnara, one of the best legendary commanders in the game and one of the best in the game, period. Before we get started, this is another installment in the Commander series Revamped. Please leave a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe as it really helps me out and helps the channel out a lot. With that out of the way, let's get started. So, Kinnara is an archer commander, a marksman PvP control commander. We're gonna dive in her skills, we're gonna dive in her talent trees, her potential builds, how to obtain her, and who to pair her with. So, let's get started. First of all, Kinnara's primary skill deals really high damage factor and inflicts feeble, decreasing every type of damage they deal by 15% for 5 seconds, which is tremendous. You're basically gimping the enemy, whoever you're hitting, by applying that skill to them, the feeble debuff, which is pretty damn strong. Her second skill is while on the field, forcing her into more of an open field role than a garrison commander. While in the field, Kinnara's Legion deals 10% normal attack damage, which includes regular attack and counter attack, which is pretty big. And she also takes a certain amount of less hero skill damage taken, which is big, pretty big. Damage reduction is always really strong, especially if it's a flat percentage. And her third skill is that her marksman units gain a flat up to 30% flat attack bonus, which is huge because marksmen already have really high base stats, so buffing that even further really adds up a lot. And finally, her final skill is that it's a passive. Kinnara's Legion is attack. She has a 20% chance to gain physical riposte and inflict all upon the target, inflicting increasing her legion's physical counterattack damage dealt by 15% up to 30%, and reducing their march speed by up to 20%, which is tremendously large and really good. So basically, every single skill of Kinnara provides a lot of value. And finally, her Awakened skill inflicts defense break, so even more value. So this commander provides so much value in terms of buffing your troops and debuffing the enemy. She's definitely a must-have and one that you should definitely work on Awaken. I personally do plan on Awakening her next. She's definitely next on my list, but I do have a certain list I'm going by. I can discuss that further in a later video if you guys want me to. Just let me know in the comments down below. As for the build that we'll be running on Kinnara, let's just remove that. This build is not as viable as I initially thought because I was testing her out. However, the primary build, which I would definitely recommend with her, since she is an archer commander, we're going to give her a little bit of nice move speed just to get up close. Or actually, no, since she is an archer commander after all. The archer march speed is pretty low in general, so we're going to give her extra defense, HP, the regular. We're going to use the PvP tree as our primary source of damage. We're going to do increased normal attack damage. We're going to do skill damage in general. And then we're going to give her Army of Valor. We're going to increase the counter attack damage she deals. We're going to give her even more damage and even more damage in general. So it's all about damage with her. So she already provides a lot of debuff. Then we're gonna give her a flat defense break whenever she goes in combat with anyone else. Now you have two options. Option one is to go for marksman tree and go all the way to bullseye, or option two, you'll go all the way to either cyclone seal or soul siphon. But I do prefer soul siphon since you are a archer march, which will be attacked a lot. So that ceiling 40 range might be impactful, granting you a skill cycle above the enemy. But for purposes of this video, we're going to use marksman. For purposes for this build, rather, we're going to use range attack. Then we're going to go for intimidation and finally finish it off with bullseye. You can also make an argument that shower of blows is really good. However, Bullseye just provides better value. That's it for the primary build. That's all we'll be going for the primary build. The secondary build is basically the same as the PvP one, but instead we're going to use the control tree as our secondary and go for Soul Siphon instead of Bullseye. So we're going to go for the March speed, we're going to go for the regular attack, and then we're going to go for even more attack here, and then finally go for Soul Siphon. You can also go for a build that involves having the control tree as the primary. So I'll show you the third more viable build of her. I'm going to go for the control tree as her primary tree. I'm going to go for March speed. We're going to go for attack. We're going to go for regular attack, even more attack. We're going to go for Soul Siphon, not counter attack, rather, more like skill damage. Ignore that counter attack one, that was by mistake. I misclicked. Then we're going to go for, actually, we're going to go for the defense break. And then we're going to go for Sage. And finally, we're going to go for Silence. You can either go for more skill damage, or you can apply the up to a 30% slow whenever you enter a battle against someone. But I do think the 30% slow is much more valuable than this one. So we're definitely going to go for the blindside over intimidation here. Then we're going to go for the regular marksman build here, range attacks, then intimidation, and finally we're going to finish it off with bullseye. That's the three most valuable builds on her right now, rather viable builds. So just to recap, PvP tree primary, marksman secondary for bullseye, secondary build, PvP primary, soul siphon secondary for control tree, and then the third build, control tree primary, marksman secondary with blindside instead of intimidation here. That's it for the talent tree builds, where you can get her shards. She appears in the Wheel of Fortune. She used to be a gold key commander, but that got changed a couple of patches ago. So now she will be a Wheel of Fortune exclusive commander that you can summon her there. But then later on, as time progresses for you and your account, she will appear in the daily deals. And she will also appear, and as soon as you summon her, you'll also be able to get her tokens from the VIP shop, or rather the VIP daily login. And yeah, that is everything that you need to know about Kinnara. As for her pairings, you will run her as either primary or secondary to Nico, depending on your needs, rather, or your preference, since both are very viable. If you run the PvP tree, it would not matter who is primary. If you don't run the PvP build, then definitely Nico should be primary, for just to get access to his defense rate before you start wailing on the enemy with your already super high skill damage factor. You can also run Kinnara Guanwin. However, Kinnara Craig is not viable, since Craig needs a defense break to apply his sheer amount of DPS. So Nico Craig is definitely more viable than Kinnara Craig. And you can finally run Kinnara Hosk, since Hosk is a multi-use commander that can synergize really well with any troops that love increased base stats and increased attack. So definitely Kinnara Hosk is super viable as well. That is everything that you need to know about Kinnara. If you like this video, please drop a like, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. And I will see you in the next video. Meow meow.